Today's video is all about you. This is part 2 in an ongoing series here on my channel where I answer viewers' questions. In this video, we'll go over material or TESSERAE storage. I'll answer specific project questions regarding things like mixed media, ungraded mosaics, and jewelry. We'll also discuss prepping wood for mosaics. And lastly, we'll talk about working with glass. Get your pen and paper ready because it's going down. Let's get to it. Welcome back, and if you're new here, my name is Julie. And on this channel, we talk about tips, tricks, tools, adhesives, materials, and specific mosaic projects. All to shorten your learning curve when it comes to creating mosaic art. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, please consider subscribing. As I mentioned in the intro, this is part 2 in an ongoing series here on the channel. You guys loved part 1, thank you very much. I will include a link to it down below in the description so you can check it out when you're done watching this video. And yes, you can watch the videos out of order. And remember, if you haven't had a chance to check out the comments sections of my videos, they're always filled with helpful information either from myself or other mosaic artists. I am so thankful for the little community that we're starting there, whether you're leaving a comment or somebody is leaving a helpful tip or some sort of information that they encountered along the way. It's a really great place for us to grow, learn, evolve, because as mosaic artists, your generosity and curiosity are greatly encouraged. So I'll quickly cover each question in this video, and if there is a video that I referenced or a tool, a substrate, a material, an adhesive, I will also include links to those pieces of information down below in the description so you can check them out a little more after you're done with this video. So in today's video, we'll cover topics that include material storage, specific project questions, sealing wood, and working with glass. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get started. The first group of questions has to do with materials or TESSERAE storage. Our first question comes from Candace, who writes, do you break your plates, cups, and bowls when you get them and put them in bags, or do you leave them stacked? I leave them stacked and it's not working. Help! Hi Candace, I recently did a video about this exact topic here on the channel. And in that video, I discussed how my storage methods and styles have evolved over the almost 25 years that I've been making mosaic art. I encourage you to check it out for a more in-depth look at lots of storage options available. But basically, you first want to figure out how much storage room do you have for your plates, bowls, and cups. And once you get that answer, then you can explore the options. Now in the video, I not only go over my storage evolution, which started with keeping my plates, bowls, and mugs in cardboard boxes, but also I detail how I store and organize my materials now, which is both stacked and broken down. Go watch the video. I think it'll be super helpful in coming up with a tailored system specifically for you. Okay, this next question comes to us from Patricia, who writes, oh my goodness, I'm somewhat new to mosaic. Is it crazy that seeing all those materials made me anxious and overwhelmed? Patricia, I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing with you. Why? Because you are not crazy. I'm going to make a bit of a controversial statement here, but please be open-minded and hear me out. As mosaic artists, we can easily become hoarders or pack rats. Okay? Don't be offended. It's actually a good thing. But think about it. The materials and substrates we work with, which aren't bags of feathers or sheets of paper, We're working with bulky, heavy, and cumbersome things, and when these items aren't organized in some sort of system, if you will, they will create overwhelm. Now, the materials that you see behind me are the culmination of almost 25 years of me making mosaics. This is not normal, okay? This is not normal if you're just starting out in mosaic. I don't want you to look at this and say this is how it's supposed to be before you can even start creating. That's not the case at all. I can tell you that because I've been making mosaics for almost 25 years, it's taken me almost 25 years to come up with the system that I have now to get all this stuff organized. I know what I have, I know where to find it, but it's taken me a long time of trial and error to get to this point. So to shorten that learning curve for all of you who are watching, and not to create overwhelm or a sense of, holy crap, how do I even begin to organize what I have? I've created a series of videos on how to store and organize your stained glass, whether you have sheets or smaller pieces. And as I mentioned in the previous question, I made a video on how to store your plates, bowls, and mugs. And also your ceramic tiles, smalty, glass tile, vitreous tile, and specialty TESSERAE as well. So as I mentioned, I'll include a link to the playlist down below in the description, and it's going to give you an idea or some sort of starting point for creating a system to get all of your TESSERAE in order. It's worth noting that for all of my videos here on the channel, if you go down into the description portion under each video, you'll see that I include videos that are relevant to the subject of the video that you're watching at that time, as well as links to items that I either demonstrated or talked about, or additional resources that could help you in whatever the subject or topic is of that video. So it's worth going down and checking if you're watching a video and you need more information or what is the next step. Always know that I list additional materials or links or information down below to help you along in this process and shorten your learning curve. I also saw a few comments from viewers on how they are getting their materials and TESSERAE organized in their creative spaces, and I thought I would pass some of these along to you. Peggy writes, besides using a bookcase with shelves, she has a dresser with her plates and cups because it was already in that room that she had made over as a craft room. Now, I like that she's using what she has. She's seeing if it's going to work or not, and if it doesn't, well, maybe that's going to get her to the place of knowing what will work for her storage. Our next comment is from Ms. KC, who I know just recently went through the process of moving houses, which we all know is quite an undertaking. She says that she continually searches secondhand stores for old record racks because they make great inexpensive glass storage racks. Now, Cindy writes that she uses old cabinets from a mailroom to keep her stained glass organized, and also uses a metal architecture plan holder to hold larger pieces of glass. I like that industrial feel, and it just seems to fit mosaic and especially stained glass really well. I like that. And Yvonne shared that she keeps her TESSERAE in totes and glass jars. And I think that it's simple, it's portable, and she's created a system, an easy system that works for her. Okay, so let's move on to our next category, which involves questions regarding specific mosaic projects. The first question is from Francois, who asked about the mosaic color block video from here on the channel. And in particular, could opaque stained glass be used to make color block? And I'll link the video down below. But in it, you'll see that I used vitreous glass exclusively. But yes, you could use opaque or even transparent stained glass, or ceramic, porcelain, or smalty as well. As I mentioned in the video for this particular project, which was a coaster, I needed to make sure the TESSERAE were all level. So I had to use an adhesive that would allow me to accomplish that. If you're using transparent glass, then you'll probably want to use an adhesive like a white adhesive, such as mastic or tile adhesive, or a white cement-based adhesive. So in the US, that would be thin set mortar. The next 3 questions have to do with the ungrouted framed mosaic that I made here on the channel. I'll link it below in the description. Now, whether you've watched the video or not, keep in mind the project involves ungrouted, sanded pieces of ceramic and porcelain plates, bowls, and mugs. This is also known as pique-assiette mosaic. So the first question is from Susan, who writes, can ungrouted glass work with this style? I work with stained glass and have a lot of pieces. Hi Susan, absolutely. You can use stained glass to create an ungrouted mosaic. Remember, there are no rules. As artists, we experiment. The fun feel of this piece is that no 2 pieces of tessera are the same. It's kitschy in a way. You could create this same sort of unexpected feel by using many different pieces of stained glass and not repeating or using a duplicate. Make sense? In other words, for example, you could have 2 pieces of green stained glass in your mosaic, just make sure they're different greens. I think this would be a really fun project with stained glass. You could mix all of the colors you have just as I did in my piece, or you could do all yellow glass or all blue glass. You get the idea. And what a great way to use up some of your scraps. The next question comes from Julie. Awesome name. Hi, Julie. And she writes, what are your thoughts on tesserae being the same size? Just as I mentioned in the previous question about the various non-repeating patterns on the tesserae, they also aren't all the same size either. There is variety, and all of that just seems to work well together. So having said that, I do also think that tesserae of the same size would work for an ungrouted mosaic. It would add a greater sense of organization in your design, if you know what I mean. The focus would still be the relationship of your tesserae and the quote grout line. Even though it's not a grouted mosaic, it would just feel more aesthetically organized to the eye. The last question for the ungrouted framed mosaic comes to us from Kirsten, who asks if clear silicone would work as an adhesive for this project. Yes, absolutely. I used Weld Bond on my particular project, and I did that because I wanted a clear adhesive so that you couldn't see it underneath the tesserae. And certainly a clear silicone such as Lexil would work just fine. The next 3 questions have to do with the mixed media mosaic that I made here on the channel, and I will link that video down below so you can check it out. This was the mosaic I made for my son's room. The mosaic is black and red, which are his 2 favorite colors, and it fits nicely with a lot of his Star Wars and sports memorabilia stuff. So the first question is from Jan, who writes, would you consider using mirror instead of a glass substrate in a project like this? Or do you think the little glints of mirror reflecting light would add or distract from the piece? Hi Jan, personally, I would use glass for this project, whether clear or non-reflective. You can certainly use mirror, but yes, if your tesserae aren't super close or touching, you're gonna see the mirror showing through, and I just didn't want that. But yes, a mirror substrate would definitely be okay to use. The next question is from Judith, who asks how big of a frame did I think she could use without having to worry about the glass substrate breaking. She's not worried about the frame because that can be reinforced. She'll most likely be using just stained glass in her mosaic. Well, as I mentioned in the video, I used an 8" by 10" frame. Personally, I wouldn't go larger than an 11" by 14" frame. And that is if you're using a frame and glass purchased from a store or from the links I included below the video. Now, if you make your own frame and you go to a glass store and you get a thicker piece of glass, then you can certainly go bigger. Our next question is from Mary, who asks if you could mix Smalty and stained glass in this piece. Absolutely, Mary. I used all sorts of materials in this mixed media mosaic, including Smalty and stained glass. So have fun with it, especially if you aren't going to grout yours like mine here. And the last question regarding the mixed media mosaic is from ILDS, who asked what adhesive would I recommend for a mixed media project on a wood substrate using various tiles and aluminum wire. After you've prepped the wood for mosaic, and I'll include a link down below in the description for the video that I did on that topic, I would use a cement-based adhesive, and in the US, it's called thin-set mortar. The final question in this category of specific mosaic projects comes to us from Jennifer, and it has to do with mosaic rings. Jennifer asks, if the rings are left ungrouted, would they be sharp? Is there any way to make sure they're not sharp? Hi Jennifer, yes, there are a few methods that you can use to accomplish this. First, you can make sure your tesserae are all level as you're tiling. And as you can see here, every so often as I tiled, I would turn the ring over and push it into my work table. This process would push the tesserae into the adhesive to level things out. The adhesive I used was very stiff and allowed me to do this beautifully. I'll include a link to the mosaic rings video down below in the description so you can check out this method a little further. You can also smooth down the glass using a glass grinder or taking it a step further and using lapidary or grinding equipment. This is specific to the jewelry niche, but easy enough to use once you get the hang of it. I'll include a list down below in the description for all of the videos, tools, adhesives, substrates, materials, all the goodies that I talked about in today's video in case you'd like to check them out. The next category has to do with sealing wood for mosaic, and as I've mentioned a little earlier, I have done a video all about that topic, and I'll include a link down below in the description so you can check it out. So the first question comes from Clara, who asks if the prep I demonstrated in that video is suitable for outdoor projects. Hi Clara, I'm sad to report that it is not. And the reason why is because wood isn't an acceptable substrate for outdoor mosaics. It ages quickly and expands and contracts, making things very difficult for your tesserae, adhesive, and grout. I'll be honest, it's a nightmare. For outdoor mosaics, you really want to work on a substrate such as cement, glass, or stone. Things like that which weather well and they don't expand or contract. The second question in this category comes to us from AY, who asks if the wood they'll be working on is already a little toothy, do they need to still score it before applying sealer? Also, what kind of polyurethane would I recommend? If the wood is already a little toothy, then you can skip that step and move on to sealing the wood. If you're going to go the polyurethane route, a water-based is fine. You don't have to mess with the oil-based variety, which I know can be a huge pain in the butt when it comes to cleanup. The last category that we'll be covering in this video is glass mosaic. First up is a question from Arden, who writes, I was wondering if you have suggestions for how to get rid of air pockets in between my glass pieces. I'm using clear blue glass and I'm finding that even though the glass dries clear, I can still see the texture of the glue where air was inside. I tried popping the bubbles with a toothpick and dropping the glass on the table a couple times before setting it in the frame, but I just seem to have so many. Hi Arden, I'm not sure what adhesive you're using, but there are a few methods to try and avoid this. I demonstrated them in the glass on glass hurricane vase video here on the channel, which I'll link down below in the description. Now please note the adhesive I used in the video is weld bond. So in that video, I showed how I adhere tessera to the glass substrate. I would jiggle the tessera a little to create suction. Then I ran a toothpick between pieces of tessera. This does a couple things. It allows the tessera to not only dry faster, but also, because the adhesive can shrink as it dries, by running the toothpick through the adhesive, it no longer will be able to pull the surrounding pieces to it, which can create air bubbles or cracked glass. The next question is from Christy, and she's asking if a glue gun can be used to glue glass to glass. I need a fast drying glue for my glass on glass. I'm not sure if you're referencing a hot glue gun, but if so, I wouldn't do it. Instead, I would use a clear silicone such as Lexol, which dries relatively quickly, at least to the point where you can go ahead and gently grout your mosaic. The last question comes to us from Wally, who's concerned that if you use clear glass on mesh, that you'll be able to see the mesh through the glass. Hi Wally, great question. And yes, you're right. If you use clear or transparent glass on mesh, you really need to think about your adhesive. You definitely don't want to use a clear adhesive. Now, I recently did a video here on the channel where I demonstrated this exact scenario. So in the video, I used a white cement-based adhesive. Here in the US, it's called thin set mortar. And I made sure that I covered the entire backside of the transparent tessera before I adhered it to the mesh. This method works well whether you're building up your tessera or just adhering it at the same level as the surrounding pieces. You just want to make sure you cover the entire back of the tessera with adhesive. I'll include a list down below in the description for all of the videos, tools, adhesives, substrates, all the goodies that I mentioned in this video in case you'd like to check them out. Question of the day, let me know down in the comments if you have a mosaic question you'd like me to answer in a future video. I would love to hear. Thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up as it really does help my channel, and subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell notification so you never miss a single upload, and let me know in the comments if there's something you'd like me to cover in a future video. I'll see you soon. Bye. Oh. Yeah? Am I in the center? Looks like it. Oh. So if that is, I was doing so good. I was doing so good. Enlighten us with their knowledge, and I've already said that a couple times. Come on, girl. Come on, girl. Gosh, I can't believe I got that out. Whew. Me oh my. Me oh my. Okay. Off the soapbox, girl. Doing a lot of talking with my hands today. Zip, 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 zip. For mosaic and blah. And that's a wrap. That's a wrap. Bye. Gotta go pick up my son from school, 'cause school's back in session. Yeah. Bye. Thanks for being here. I'll see you soon. Bye. If you're looking for more mosaic inspiration, you can check out one of these two videos. Until then, see ya.